It's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Tuesday, August 30th. So we have the moon in Libra again all day. This is going to help us again sort out the extreme thoughts, the extreme choices, the extreme feelings that we have been kind of contemplating between, debating between, if you will, in order for us to find the middle ground. The Libran energy is always focused on balance, finding peace in our lives and our circumstances, creating harmony, especially in our relationships. But oftentimes, the Libran energy puts us at odds in extreme situations with our thoughts, with our emotions, with our choices, in order for us to really feel the squeeze to find that middle ground. There are 9 different aspects taking place here today, and 7 of them involve the moon. Right out of the gate, we have a very complicated energy taking place between Mercury and Uranus. Why I say that it's complicated is because Uranus is the higher octave, the higher intelligence of Mercury. Mercury rules the lower level intellect, our mental plane, rules over information, communication, how it is that we express ourselves, while Uranian energy, ruling over the higher level intellect, connects us with the divine intelligence, the higher self, the inspiration, the revelations, the aha moments that just pop into our higher mind. And of course, we have to bring that information down into the lower mind to actually make sense of it and actually be able to use it. So we have Mercury, who is in Libran energy, slowing down. The closer that we get to September 9th, the slower we are going to feel in our mental plane, the more reflective we're going to feel. Why? Because Mercury is preparing to go retrograde. We have Uranus retrograde already in this Taurus energy, making us very reflective, very inward. Why? Because we have to go inward to examine what it is that we're overly attached to. Why? Because what it is that we're overly attached to in this physical realm, in our materialistic realm, whether it be people, titles, possessions, is technically blocking us from moving forward, from being able to manifest new elements in our life. This particular energy is trying to show us where it is that we are essentially blocking our own progress, blocking our own blessings. We have to have these aha moments, these awakening moments within the analyzation of our inner selves in order for us to actually change it. So Mercury and Uranus interacting in this way, first of all, will likely create some ascension symptoms that have a lot to do with the central nervous system, anxiety, pressure in the head, if you will, urgency, impulse to figure everything out now. But these two interacting is definitely going to put a lot on the mental plane in order for us to figure it out. Keep in mind, Mercury being in Libran energy, super indecisive, constantly going back and forth and looking outside of ourselves for other people's thoughts and opinions and validation. While this Uranian energy doesn't want us to include anybody at all. This is a solo journey. This is an independent journey. And we have this conflict taking place because our lower level intellect and our higher level intellect are kind of at war on what it is that we need to do to meet ourselves in the middle, to agree with our thoughts, to align with new ideas and inspirations coming in from our higher self. So the moon goes ahead and bumps into Uranus very shortly after. This is going to bring our feels into it. And our feels at this point are kind of feeling a little bit crazy, a little bit chaotic. Again, with this Uranian energy, I'm going to say the Uranian medicine, if you will, is to create chaos in order for us to find clarity, is creating a situation where we feel like we're breaking down mentally, where our head's going to explode in order to prepare us for the clarity that is coming. So we are sorting things out. We do have to feel a little bit crazy in order for us to find a middle grounding point. This particular energy is going to have us feeling a little bit like we are making progress. The progress might not be coming in actually figuring out our lives, our details, our strategy, our moves forward, but actually making peace with the circumstances, with the craziness, with the chaos. The more that we focus on how crazy we feel, the crazier we actually become. When we are constantly looking to fix an issue, it reminds us of how quote unquote broken we actually are. This particular situation is illuminating for us where it is that we have to go with the flow, where it is that we have to find the peace, the happiness, the joy in our current circumstances. And when we balance those energies out, when we make peace with what's going on, even if it is crazy and chaotic on the inside, suddenly that is when we have a lightning bolt of ideas, of inspirations just come into our crown, shift our perspective, give us a totally different alternative, if you will, to some of the situations, choices, and decisions that we're currently being torn between. Speaking of being torn between two ideas, two choices, two decisions, we have the sun in Virgo energy bumping into Jupiter, who is retrograde in Aries energy. Now, Jupiter being retrograde has us looking back to, let's say, April and May of this year. We had a brand new urgency, a brand new want, need, and desire, a brand new impulse to start something new, to initiate a new chapter. And for the most part, we've seen a whole huge amount of growth since that particular point in the calendar. But now, because Jupiter is retrograde, we're having to look back, reflect, revise, even figure out whether or not, we still want to pursue certain paths, certain dreams, certain visions. Now, the sun, being in Virgo energy, wants us to think logical and practical about our lives. Jupiter's over here tending to kind of project ourselves in the future, what is possible in the future, what we dream about, what we desire. The possibilities are endless with Jupiter's energy. Virgo energy, on the other hand, we aren't projecting ourselves too freaking far into the future because we're reliant on our current circumstances. We are so logical, so practical, so close-minded in the here and now that we have a hard time dreaming. We have a hard time even fathoming how we're going to get out of certain situations in the here and now to align with the big dreams and with the big visions of the future. This is when we have a choice to make. This is when we feel that, ebb and flow, that being pushed and pulled, that being torn between two different paths, two different ideas. We have Jupiter over here trying to boost us with optimism and confidence that we're able to create anything in the world as long as we are aligning with our vision and willing to do the work to actually bring it to life. While the sun in Virgo is over here saying, okay, that's great, but we have a mess to clean up in the here and now. We have loose ends to tie up. We have projects to finish. We have to clean the slate. We have to organize our situation in the here and now on the off chance that we don't have what it takes in order to create this new reality. So yeah, this is a little bit of a somber energy, a little bit of a serious energy, but we have to focus on what we actually want to focus on. This sun energy is our life force. It's our willpower. It's our attention. What do we want to pour our energy into? And right now we have so many different choices, so many different avenues. We don't know where we want to pour this energy. This is a time of adjustment. We're tweaking things. We're revising our plans. We're realigning with our mission, with our purpose, with what it is that makes us happy. And there's an element here because Jupiter is retrograde where we have to take a good look at, the old habits that maybe we have to let go of, the old relationships that maybe we need to get rid of, the old ways of operating and exerting ourselves that we need to get rid of to adopt new, healthier routines. Virgo energy wants us to focus on healthy routines, supportive routines, balancing our mind, our body, our soul to have that stability, that practice in our lives so that when things get crazy in our external realm or in our internal realm, that we have a discipline, a practice that we can go to ground us out, to bring us back down to earth, to make us very connected to the here and now so that we can take care of the here and now instead of constantly trying to project our energy in the future on what it is that we want to be doing, what we want to be experiencing. So this is a tug of war that is going to feel very intense. This is a tug of war that will eventually lead us to what it is that we want to choose, what it is we want to decide, where it is we want to lean into and pour our time and energy into creating and building something new. The moon is going to complicate things though, because the moon in Libra, again, very indecisive, likes to sit on the fence, doesn't like to trust oneself, likes to look outside of oneself to other people for their thoughts, opinions, what they think we should do. And the moon goes ahead and bumps into the true node. This is a confusing aspect because it is a choice point on what it is that we want to choose and decide for ourselves. Again, adding to the seesaw energy of the day, adding to the element of feeling like we're torn in two different directions. And again, we have to feel torn. We have to feel uncomfortable. We have to feel a little bit crazy and chaotic in order for us to sort our lives out, to sort out what we want to do. So this particular energy is really putting us in a situation for us to kind of block out the external world, to move inward and get real with ourselves. What do we want? What do we need? What do we desire? Once we identify that, a step forward can be made. The moon is going to sit across from Chiron, though, who is retrograde in Aries. This is really going to bring up a lot of the shadow elements, both in Libran energy and in Aries energy. This opposition needs to happen in order for us to identify the wounds that are preventing us from truly making this decision and moving on. What are those wounds? Well, we're feeling very, again, indecisive. We're doubting ourselves. We're very insecure. We feel like we're living in extremes. We are using our past experiences to dictate what is possible for our future. And that is a major wound of the mind and of the heart. There is a certain element where our old wounds, our old pain, our old trauma, the old elements of suffering are literally putting a limit, putting a boundary on what it is that we think is possible for us in the future. And the beautiful thing about this is that we can move inward because, again, Chiron is retrograde. We're moving inward. We're reflecting back. We're reanalyzing the situation, and we're reconstructing our inner narrative to break us free from the old circumstances that are creating a blockage, a challenge, an obstacle for us to push through, to overcome, to actually move forward and see progress in a totally different direction. Oftentimes we think that we are, victims of our past, that we are byproducts of our past experience, which to a certain degree, yeah, sure. Okay. You do have to learn something from what you go through in the past, but not when it creates a limit on what you think you're capable of and what it is that you actually want to pursue. Sometimes we have these big dreams, but then we let our ego get in the way, talk fear into our plans, bring up insecurities, bring up doubts. Suddenly we're projecting ourselves back 10 years ago when we tried to make something happen and we ran into disappointment. We ran into blockages and challenges, and then suddenly we were a failure. So we never tried to bring something to life again. What we can learn from this is when we analyze certain situations in the past, we can see that A, we didn't have a plan in place. B, we didn't have a support system in place. C, we didn't have a strategy, a calculated strategy, a plan to follow so that we didn't fall off our path. What we need to realize is that we're in the year of 6. This year of 6 is about building and perfecting systems, routines, the details of our lives so that we can go ahead and start ushering in the big dreams, the big visions that actually have a stable place to be built upon. So there's a lot of reflecting going on because these major heavy hitting planets are in a retrograde. But our job here is to not lose ourselves in extremes. Again, Libran energy. We don't want to lose ourselves in these extremes. We want to visit those particular circumstances and then kind of crawl our way back to a happy medium, a middle ground, which is actually very healing to the head and to the heart. Now, the moon is going to go ahead and interact with Uranus in such a way that would suggest that there's a disruption happening in our exterior realm that we don't have control over. Maybe our plans are changing. Maybe somebody's coming at us with their truth that is going to skew the plans that we had included them in. Maybe there is an event that suddenly comes out of the blue that now is going to totally take our time and energy in a different path, in a different direction. The objective here is to recognize that nothing is happening to us. Things are happening for us. This Uranian energy likes to shake us up, likes to wake us up, likes to shock us, if you will, because sometimes that's the only time that we will change. And the whole goal of this Uranian energy is to get us more authentically aligned with our path, with our purpose, with our vision. And sometimes we need a total disruption of our daily tasks, our daily chores, to totally sideswipe us and open us up to be a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit more spontaneous, a little bit more in the mind space where we have to make a change, we have to make a transformation, we have to go with the flow, or else we're going to drown here. Now, does that feel good? No, but it is absolutely necessary. It does bring an element of chaos. It does bring a little bit of a frazzle dazzle in our emotions and in our mental plane. Our central nervous system, our anxiety pops off when we don't feel like we have control over the people, places, things, and events in our environment. This is setting us up for a beautiful energy. So just remember that we're not going to sit at camp here. We're not going to live here for too long. We have to learn to go with the flow. And that flow is going to take us right into when the moon trines Saturn. The moon in Libra, striving for balance. Saturn, the Lord of Karma, retrograde in Aquarian energy, trying to show us where new foundations, new systems, new routines, a new bridge needs to be built in our life in order to get us from where it is that we're at to where it is that we desire to be. Suddenly, we get a reality check. Suddenly, our focus is very clear. We get a whole lot of insight. Suddenly, where we had fogginess, where we had overwhelming thoughts, suddenly something clicks, something appears. Suddenly we see the answer, we see the path, we see the next move. And it's realistic. It's not out in la la land. It's not over exaggerated. We're not, biting off more than we can chew. It's a realistic attempt at moving forward, at building something new, at building the foundation, the system, the structure, the supports needed to actually pursue our new passions, our new dreams, our new vision. The moon goes ahead and bumps into Mars. Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passions, even our anger. He is in Gemini energy, the mental plane, the intellect, trying to sort things out, debate between two very extreme choices and decisions. And the moon being in Libra, air energy, with this Gemini energy that Mars is in, air energy, we have a lot of pressure going on in the mental plane. Could create dizziness, could create ear popping. Again, listen to the ascension forecast for the week to figure out all the physical symptoms and ailments that we can experience with this energy shift. But the moon and Mars right now, in this particular interaction, we could be so mentally overstimulated, so aggressively trying to sort things out, process things, figure things out, provide solutions, that we could be kind of, zapping our own system. This could mean that suddenly we are not feeling so balanced, not so grounded. Maybe we're so overwhelmed and agitated at this point, frustrated that we can't have everything now, angered, if you will, that we can't seem to make as much physical process as we're making in our inner realms with our mental plane, with our heart space. I am going to say that this is a huge cautionary energy. Just when we got clear-headed and down to earth and focused on what the next step is, we let our minds get the best of us. We allow, just rapid thoughts, rapid thinking, different choices, different decisions. There's almost too many options for us to contemplate in this energy. And it means that we're overstimulated, we can be easily triggered, easily activated. We can project our instability out onto other people in this air energy. It's communicative. It's how we express ourselves. But right now we're kind of razzle-dazzle, frazzled, and we could actually speak verbal vomit out on other people that we don't mean to project our instability on, and of course create a little drama for ourselves to clean up later. The moon is going to wrap the day up with a semi-square, a little bit of a tension point with the sun in Virgo. Again, this is an overlap between what it is that we've been doing and the results that we've gotten because of that versus what we need to change and what we need to embody as far as qualities and characteristics go in order to actually have a different result. The moon is our emotions, is our intuition, is our memory, is what it is that we're overly attached to. And the sun is shining a bright light on what it is that we have to create within ourselves if we want a different foundation. Virgo energy, we're creating different routines, different healthy habits, different practices, different disciplines for us to actually build a strong enough foundation to move forward on. This semi-square leaves us with an overlap. What's the overlap? The here and now. What are we going to choose? Are we going to choose to do the same old, constantly putting our own wants, needs, and desires on the back burner to honor what everybody else wants us to do or what's best for the group, the team, the family, the relationship? Or are we, with the Virgo energy, going to realize that we can only be our best selves in helping other people if we are our best selves within ourselves? I went on a rant in the Ascension forecast about how, yes, Virgo energy wants to be of service to other people, but also is of service to other people to distract us from doing what it is that we need to do for ourselves. We have to get ourselves back to a state of wholeness, nurture ourselves back to a state of stability before we go giving our power away to everyone else. So the moon and the sun coming together right now is shining a bright light on the choice point that we currently have, which means that we're going to have to let certain people, titles, ideas, thoughts, behaviors, and patterns go in order for us to build something new, something healthier, something more stable, something more supportive for our own physical selves. Because when our cups are filled to the top, when we are feeling our best selves, then we can be of service and show up for other people because they would be getting the best part of ourselves as well.